I've been doing some woodworking, trying to do a live edge cedar end table. I've been doing it in my apartment. It is possible, but I'm going to be expanding to my patio area. I'm going to be moving my dining room table out there. I'm going to be taking the top off of it and moving that into, transitioning it into a work table. Now, of course, the day I decide to do this is the day that they are mowing outside, so it's noisy. It's going to be grass everywhere. But this is something that I need to make happen so that way I have actual room to work and start to perfect and master this craft. I guess I'll just kind of run through how far I've gotten. I've been using just this little Craftsman hand belt sander. It's a 3-inch by 21-inch belt. Doesn't hog a lot, but I mean, it gets the job done. This is a routing table I just picked up yesterday. Found it on Facebook Marketplace. Haven't even used it yet, but I know it works. And this has seen probably the most action. It's a little Craftsman orbital random sander, or random orbital sander. I tried attaching a polishing pad to it. Horrible idea. Now I have to clean out those hooks. This is pretty much just my box of sanding stuff. And then a Dremel with a little wood eating bit on it. Oh, come on there, buddy. There we go. Yeah, look at that focus. Got a bit set here. Today just picked these up. These are some files to work on the outside edges of the wood. Crappy stir stick, scissors, wipe down pad. It's a microfiber pad that I just use with some water on it. Just picked up these screws today. This router bit set I picked up today as well. As well as a square, a better hand sanding pad because the one that I got before was complete trash, and then a jigsaw. So I don't have room for a table saw, so I figured a jigsaw with a guide arm, some clamps, and 2x4s, which I definitely forgot to pick up today. Crap. And then a plunge router. So these are the things I'm going to be using. I've got my finishing stuff down here. This is what I believe this is 80 possibly, but I've got, yeah, still got some chainsaw marks. I was just going to use it as the bottom of the table. I'm still going to clean it up and probably do some finish on it, but this is about 80. And the other side is, yes, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely in love with this. This is Nebraska cedar that my brother Matt sent me. It just looks completely amazing. I still have to get inside these cracks, clean this out. I used a 2000 grit sandpaper on the top after I got done with the shellac, and it permeated. Oh, it ain't all done. It permeated these cracks, and since it's such a fine dust with the shellac, it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. But this is a big practice piece, big old test piece. Feels nice and smooth. I can definitely see some blemishes in the sunlight here. So it's highly possible that after I get done with this table and routing sled that I'm about to make, this whole thing gets stripped off and redone for the third time. But I'm super happy with the progress so far. Kind of started this whole thing not knowing the daggone thing about any of this work table. That's my next thing. And so I'm going to take this nice sturdy dining room table that I have, and that's been scratched up and stained up, and I don't even know what that is, but whatever. Clearly something from a cup. But yeah, I'm gonna 36 grit this piece. I'm going to get all of this off the top, and then might restain it, might refinish it. I don't know, might just leave it as a rough worktop, but I know it's got flat edges, so I can use that for clamping onto things and cutting, because like I said, don't have a table saw, so gotta do with what you got. Let's get it. Okie doke, artichoke. So, got the 80 grit. Boom. Picked up a little trick from the old tube of the used. Spray the wood with water and let it dry, and that will make the fibers stick up. So that way when you move up in grit, it'll be even smoother. So I'm going to give this a quick spray down, and then yeah, give it a quick spray down, and then move up to 120, and then I think I will call that good. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have the bottom part, the base of it, is going to be like this. It's going to have a hole cut out of the middle for the router bit to go in. So the first thing I need to do is crack open this router that I picked up today and see how wide the diameter is actually. So that way I know where on here I need to cut. What I need to figure out is the width of this, because as this rides, these walls are going to be here. So they're going to be coming up, but can't be too high. This is a plunge grinder, so it does go up and down, but still need to be able to ride this along, drop it all the way down. So this is my maximum height that I can have my walls on this router sled. So got a couple measurements to do. Yeah, let me get to it. I've got 6 1/4 inches here. I'm going to add a 1/4 inch to each side, so we'll make it 6 3/4 inch. That's how wide our base will be. And then for that cutout, I'm going to do 2 1/4 inches. Here, enough room for the bit. Our maximum height is this depth right here, which looks to be about, we're gonna go 2.5 inches. Okay, so I've got all my cuts, my lines marked out. Tough lesson learned. Make sure you read your manual for whichever kind of jigsaw you get, because there are different kind of shanks. This is the shank. This is a T-shank. I had originally purchased a U-shank, so I had to take a trip back to the store, but now we have everything. We can get to either utilizing this guide edge or seeing if we need to clamp up a rip board in order to cut this in the most clean and efficient way. Alright, very quickly I realized that this is not going to be cutting straight using that guide edge, so I'm going to clamp up a rip board. and use that. 4 1/8, 4 1/8. Got our handy dandy clamperooskies up here. Let's get to cutting. Yeah, this is not gonna work. Don't really know what I'm gonna try right now. So that was a total nightmare. Basically, I had to cant the blade instead of it being like, well, I'll do it from this side, put it in reverse. Instead of it being like this, I had to hold it like this the entire time to get a straight line. But cheap tools, yeah. Got to do what you can. Next side. Next investment will probably be a table saw of some sorts, because this is a freaking nightmare. Alright, next thing I'm going to do, probably out of order, I should probably cut this, the rest of this next, but I'm really excited to check this thing out and see how it works and test it out. This is my router table. I picked up super cheap off Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I really want to change that bit and see what I can do with the edge that looks like this. I want to see if I can get it to look like this with this. First off, this thing is freaking awesome. Like, yeah, this thing is gonna be absolutely amazing. But I need to do a little work here just to make sure I can actually get that part in the jig that I have set up. So we are going to go sander real quick, just the zip. So I was having a little bit of trouble understanding the backside of this. So this is not the same as this. I couldn't figure out why. This will loosen the entire sled and let it move back and forth. This will do the same thing over here. But there's this knob, and I could not figure out for the life of me what it was. This will allow the end, as I say this now, maybe I have to loosen both. Okay, this will allow the end to push out and catch how much, so that way it doesn't get drawn back in. See, because the wood will be thicker as it starts on this side, and it will be less thick, thinner, after it passes through the router. So I'm gonna give this a shot. You can see how much that's offset right here. It's a pretty significant difference, but let's see if it's too much, because I'm really curious now. I'm gonna have to adjust these first though, so BRB. Okay, so I basically adjusted this. This was flush right here, and I just adjusted it halfway in on both sides. So let's kick it on and see what happens. Perfectly. Oh my goodness. That worked exactly like I wanted it to. Oh, that is lucky. And look at the clearance that I have. I had barely enough room to get this whole pour through. All right, so let's vacuum this off real quick. Satisfying montage in 3, 2, 1. Alright, I'm really bad at recording with my left hand and doing things with my right hand, but nonetheless, before I show you this, I'm going to insert a brief clip of what it looked like beforehand right here. And this is what it looks like now. Look at that. That is crazy. This little table router was well worth the very little amount of money I spent on it. But that is just amazing. Oh yeah, absolutely worth it. Yep. This also is like crappy laminated board. I mean, you can see this is all jointed and stuff like this, just made up of random nonsense, so it's not surprising that something like this would happen. But you know what, it's okay. These don't really do anything anyway. Look at that clearance. Got some room on this side, got some room on this side. Ooh, doggy. Yeah, that side's gonna have to come down a little bit, especially considering there's that little hunk that got knocked out. But it's okay. Concepts have been proven, tools are being learned, and boom, there is the beginnings of the router sled. I took this little bit. Get over here, focus. Yeah, took that little bit and started a hole, and then took this bit and finished the hole, and now I'm about to just dig that down in there and start routing all this out. We'll see which is more efficient, either that or that crappy little thing down there, because that thing sucks. But hopefully this will work. Everything will be handy dandy, fine, and yeah, let's give it a shot. This thing hogs. Yes, this is gonna be awesome. Okay, now just to give the jigsaw a fair shake, I mean, I don't know if you can see, I mean, just in that short amount of time I was able to hog out that much. I'm going to plug that thing in, see if we can move anything, cut out a big chunk fairly easily maybe. Don't want to blame the equipment when it could be me. If I'm being completely honest, this will probably most definitely be a lot easier. It's not nearly as fun as that, but I think it's safe to say that I have learned how to use this tool better It is definitely not the tool. I mean, it's a little bit wonky, but accuracy is simply a product of consistency. So as long as I know that, I'm good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sand this down real quick, top of this, and then yeah, start my glue up. Whew. That was a long day. It's a good productive day. 5:25. Been awake for 30 hours. Is that right? 29 hours. 29 hours been awake. But insanely productive day. Got my first glue up going on here. First glue up. It's pretty messy. Got glue squishing out of all sorts of different areas. But the router fits. It seats. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Now we have a planer. Now we can start hitting some of these slabs. But first, I gotta get all this stuff cleaned up. This is so much fun. I cannot wait to get started on my laminate legs for that slab over there. It's gonna be awesome. Thanks for checking it out. Yeah, I'll keep making these and keeping you posted.